Hey, afternoon, everyone. Afternoon on the East Coast, 12:20. For you West Coasters, part of accelerators.org. Sorry if it's still early, but it's Friday. And because it's Friday, of course, I was running a little late, trying to wrap up some things with clients as they booked right up against my calendar. So, sorry about that. But it looks like, we only have a couple questions today, so we should be able to wrap up here in quick fashion. So let me start, just so we can. And any sort of updates in general. So if anybody out there saw the EIDL, if they got the other EIDL loan for 150, I saw where they sent. I emailed directly back to them and said I'm interested in more money possibly. They sent me an email back and said here's how the process goes if you want to do it, and it went well. I sent the email. I followed through the process. Actually submitted for up to $500,000 in loans. We'll see if I'm going to fully accept it. And what that next step in the process is, but it is available to do that. So I would recommend doing that in case that makes sense for your business. So, and let's see what else. Any other updates? No, that's pretty much it. Let's jump in. So, first question I have here is from AJ Coots. How to begin training my first hire? So he says, "Hey, Sean Mentors. First question here from me. I'm about 8 months old in the entrepreneurial journey, and I'm quickly learning that I don't have the time or bandwidth to accomplish everything I sell. My business is a growth agency that includes web development, and I've had a skilled friend working on a project-by-project basis for the last 6 months. We're financially at the point to support hiring part-time, and I'm excited to be training him to do many of the low-value tasks that are currently on my plate. But I'm also nervous about this, as I know that many first hires don't work out well. I've also seen how the training process can make or break someone who would otherwise be a good team member. I really appreciate input on what you've learned relating to this topic. Thanks in advance." So, yeah, AJ, that's great. When I started my business 8 years ago, I put goal metrics together. I'm not sure where your goal metrics are with hiring and training, but I put together goal metrics and said when I get to X number of clients, I'm going to probably need to hire. Now, I didn't know if that was the case or not, but I said to myself, once I get to this level, I know that I can't get to the next tranche with my own personal time without hiring someone. And if I do it too late, I'm going to run in this scenario where I will not have enough time to train them, and I will be in trouble with servicing my current clients. So for me, that was at about 8 clients. I actually probably could have on my own gone up to about 10 to 12 clients, but I said, you know what? At 8, I'm going to take the dive. I'm going to take the expense on, and I'm going to hire somebody. So that's what you have to be cognizant of, is how you want to do that, and budget for that. A lot of people don't budget for it, but not just budget dollars on your budget. Also budget time that you have to give to this person, and think about it. So if you're doing web development and you're doing other digital stuff, I'm sure you're charging anywhere from 75 an hour to 150 an hour across the board, depending on what type of service you're offering, probably. So let's do 100 as an easy baseline. If your time's worth 100 an hour and you have to give up 10 hours a week to train this person, that's $1,000 a week of income that you might have to give up to train this person. So not only is there a budget to hire the person, but there's a potential loss of revenue of $4,000 a month. Let's say this person is, 40,000 a year, 45,000 a year, 3,500 to 4,000 a month, that's $8,000 swing. 4,000 in loss, 4,000 in expense that you have to think in your mind, I have to absorb to take on this person. That's the way you got to look at it, because you really have to train this person. And then it'll start to flip. When they get trained, then boom, they absorb that 4,000 in revenue that you couldn't. And then they take another 4,000 on, and then they take another 4,000 on. And before you know it, they're doing 80,000 to 100,000 in revenue. And now you have your profit. Now you have your $40,000 to $60,000 profit on that person. So that's the mindset I would use when you're doing it. Hopefully that was helpful. Second question. This is from Lloyd Brown. Lloyd asks, how do I analyze a capital expenditure and project that's against 12 to 24 months of revenue and profits so I know if I can make that investment confidently in my business? Business description, moving company, and I know if I had a third truck, I could keep it busy and it would be profitable. But I want to analyze it and use data, and I don't know how. I also think if I could put this together, I could search for an angel investor and show how I can pay a nice return based on the trucks I have now and what getting a new one would do for my business. Lloyd, I love it. So I love the idea of trying to get a small angel investor to help you with this, because it's certainly not a VC avenue or any type of VC group or angel group. I think it's more an angel of friends and family who would jump on this kind of thing. A lot of risk here, but like where your head's at. So your question is, how do you analyze capital expenditure? So, I mean, the way I like to do it is really what is the value you're going to get out of this truck. So if you're in a moving business, how many, if the truck can do X number of moves and it's that many more people, you need 2 people on the truck to do the moves. So what is that cost of the truck and the people together to do one move? So again, I don't know enough about your business here, but let's assume keeping your truck busy meant that truck was doing 4 moves a week. And those 4 moves a week were equal to $10,000 a week. And your crew and truck cost you about, plus gas and all of that, let's say $2,000 a week or $3,000 a week. So on those moves, you're making 70% on the moves. That's one way to look at it. You cost the whole structure and look at how many moves you could do with that truck. I don't think it matters, honestly, that it's a capital expenditure versus an operating expense. It's really whether your theory of constraints is aligned. Meaning, you said you have enough business to supply to the truck, but then you need movers with the truck. And then you need to have a consistent enough amount of business. So what the constraint is the sales, the capacity, meaning the equipment, the truck, and the people, and that ever fluctuating scenario on demand of a business growth. So you got to make sure that you have enough business to support that new truck. That's really what I would do. I don't think it matters from a capital expenditure. I would look at the whole running cost of that truck on the daily, on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. And see whether, if you really want to look at ROI, it's hard on one truck, because what's going to happen is, to an investor, that's hard to say, well, I'm going to get one more truck and I need you to help me get one more truck. The investor's not going to care about the one truck. They're going to care about, well, what's your business going to do? And if you're constantly reinvesting in your business to grow it, you're going to probably have some higher costs than you would normally to make on the return. So it's a little bit of a catch-22 there, because if you just had one truck, you might have extra turns, but now you have to build up several trucks and you have to keep ramping up your sales department and so on and so forth. You have to look at the business as a whole to see what that return would be. So, and what percentage that investor would get of the whole company. So there's a whole equation you do there to see if it's worth it. But sorry to be long-winded there, but there's a lot in that. So hopefully that was helpful. Roselli, a cloak. Roselli a cloak. Sorry, the name was a little difficult there. Roselli a cloak asks, as a solo service provider, how do I grow my business when I'm the only one that can do the actual work right now? Business description. I have a small accounting firm. I'm struggling with how to grow the firm and have multiple team members. Do I find better sales and marketing processes, or do I bring in more service providers? And which comes first, and what are your recommendations for finding those service providers? So, Roselli, not actually on my town hall I did last month, one of the accountants was asking me that same question. She has a small accounting firm as well. So, similar question to the first hire scenario that AJ was asking earlier. It's always very hard to get people because first you have to find good people. Secondly, you might have to train them if not train them in the art of accounting, you might have to train them in your process, because your process could be very different than another firm. You might be more strategic, or you might be more tactical with things, or you might only do this niche market that you have to train them in sort of the specifics and what to look for and what not to look for in that industry. So you got to decide what avenues you're going to take. Am I going to stay niche? Am I going to do only professional services accounting? Am I going to go on to retail? Am I going to get into commercial real estate projects? I have no idea what you're doing with your firm, but if you zero in on a specialty, there's a better chance that you could hire someone who has experience in that specialty area, and so they'll be better from the start, hitting the ground running with you. So there's less risk on bringing them in, and you are going to have to get your marketing up to snuff, so to speak, meaning your SEO, your digital presence, your website, so people can easily get a hold of you. I would not put a salesperson in as a sole proprietor. That is a mistake. Sometimes that can be too costly, and just selling accounting is just not something. It's pretty commoditized. So selling accounting is a hard way to go. Marketing yourself and being in a niche market is good. You could sort of exploit that market in your area. So, without knowing too much more, that's my recommendation there. And like AJ, make sure you have time for training in your scenario with bringing in those people. So, next question is from Todd Ferguson. Todd says, when is the right time to get a CFO or a part-time CFO, and what could one do for my business to help me grow? I have an Amazon TPL fulfillment warehouse, and we're rapidly growing, meaning getting bigger facilities, more employees, and need to be sure I am taking calculated risks with investing in the business. We do $3+ million now. How could a CFO help me with this? So, Todd, obviously a great question for us. So 3 million is about the mark that, call it 2 to 3 million, but usually about 3 million, 4 million. Like you said, where things get a little more complicated. Let me frame this for you: CFO versus accounting versus controller. I get asked this a lot. Okay. Don't think of a CFO, well, especially in our case, because we don't do this. But don't think of a CFO as a historical numbers person. Okay? think of that as your bookkeeping and your accountant, your internal accountant function. Also, when you're thinking about month to month projections or month to month understanding of nuances of project profitability, so on and so forth, that's more a controller, along with the compliance aspects that a controller would do. Like, let's get the insurance refilled. We got to watch out for increasing insurance with more facilities. How do we navigate that? So on and so forth. All the different things a controller would look at around compliance pieces. So you have that, then you have a controller. So I make sure you have all those locked in place before you bring on a CFO resource, or what we are, which is really a FP&A strategic resource with a sprinkling of CFO in what we do. And the reason I say that a little differently is we're kind of a major executive on your team. So you got to be ready for that. So you're getting close, because when you know, I want to go this way, or I want to go this way, or this way, meaning I want to get investment, I want to raise more debt, I want to buy a building, I want to exit in 5 years, I want to try this approach versus this approach, and you want to start to get into major scenario planning on your business and understand your financials, understand the metrics that matter for your business and drive your growth. That's when you bring on us or another group like us to help you really navigate the future prospects of your business. And you want to set it up. You want that CFO group to be looking forward constantly. If they're too concerned about, oh, this report looks pretty, or this historical stuff is this, wrong group for you. Your accountants, your bookkeepers, and controllers can do that. Find a group that says, I'm going to help you grow your business. I'm going to drive it forward for you. And that's the group you want, as that can help you make decisions and give you the right advice to make the decisions, and then optimize your growth along that path. I'm obviously speaking from experience here. This is what we do constantly with clients, but that's really when you got to have the mindset shift to be ready for that, because it's investment on your time too to get this moving. So that's about the point. Hopefully that was helpful. So looks like the last question is from Dina Kell. And Dina Kell says, I'm expanding and adding more retail space and team members. What are things I need to do to maintain a team culture to keep the team happy and productive? I have a med spa and we have a great team. I want to be proactive and make sure we don't lose that. How do you keep your team motivated, inspired, happy, and productive? What kind of special things do you do at your company? So, Dina, culture is critical. I said this before on many lives. I think that culture, not only these days, not only for your team, but for your resources, like a group like us or other outsourced groups you might bring in there, all of them have to be sort of aligned in theory with your culture, aligned with what your why is, where you want to go, so on and so forth. But let me step outside of that for a minute. So as your company grows, I don't think, this is my personal opinion, I don't think a ping pong table and happy hours are what make or break a culture by any means. I think they're nice added perks. I would call them perks. But I think a culture is really the CEO, so in this case I assume that's you, the CEO driving the vision for the business and exciting people about the vision consistently. And the work you do for people, you want that to be rewarding for the people, because then your people will feel rewarded that they're doing good stuff for people or other businesses. That's gonna create your best culture, and you want to also keep your people challenged. So maybe there's an education piece where your people can continually do more types of med spa stuff that could get trained up, so to speak, to add to their skill set. because you never can count on people to stay with you these days more than 3 to 5 years, and then they get tired of it, they move on, or they just want to do something else. So in order to keep them there 3 to 5 years, you have to sort of train them up a little, uh, keep your vision in front of everybody so they're excited about it, and then do some of the perk stuff, which is always nice. But I think that's how you keep people productive and happy, is by doing that. And of course, you got to pay people well. You got to pay them competitively. Otherwise, they'll just leave too. So that's obviously always a factor. So that's what I really feel like these days, especially, and small business especially. So, wow, these are very good questions today. I think these are some really unique opportunities for people here. Glad to see that your business is growing. And in closing, I have to say, I think there's a real macro opportunity here with the economy. I think things are expanding aggressively. I think we're going to have a really strong economy for a couple of years here. So take some risks. If you have some leftover PPP money, use it. Invest in people or products in your business, because it should give you a return if you have a good business model. So go for it. Now's the time. And good luck. See everyone next time. Have a happy Friday.